Philippines, hello world! Welcome to Ed 703 channel, the station where you can always trust, giving you the latest updates in the Department of Education. This is your news anchor, Freddy Jane C. Ambol, live in Municipal Hall of Midsayap, North Cotabato, with my co-host, Samanuddin Kali.
Yes, Jane, we are also live here in the Municipal Hall of Baldor, Maguindanao. Good day to our viewers. Hello world. Join us as we give you the latest and hottest regional news in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education. Also with us is our field correspondent, Raj.
Yes, Sam and Jane, we are also live here in the Municipal Hall of Parang, Maguindanao. Good day, viewers. Stay tuned as I give you all the details of the latest and the hottest national and local news in the Department of Education, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao, Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education.
For the headlines, Department of Education Central Office conducts a series of educational webinar for the key officials and stakeholders. Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education provides free trainings to its secondary school teachers. MBHTE Maguindanao 2 shares their plans and objectives for the incoming school years addressing the new normal education.
Department of Education Central Office conducted a series of educational webinar for the key officials and stakeholders headed by the Secretary of Education herself, Secretary Leonor Magdolis Briones. Our field correspondent Raj will give us more.
Yes, Sam. The Department of Education Central Office, spearheaded by the Secretary Leonor Magtulis Briones, conducted a series of webinars to its key officials and stakeholders.
The effects of COVID-19 pandemic is unexpected. It caused a wide range of devastation across nations. In the Philippines, there is no doubt that this pandemic has turned the country into a totally different environment, where safety among people is the priority of the government. Teaching is moving online on an untested and unprecedented scale. Traditional classrooms and face-to-face learning are no longer relevant these days. As the pandemic changes the way people live, the demand for a more flexible learning opportunity also increased. To address this growing necessity, schools all over the Philippines shifted to distance learning, which is a remote learning method where students don't need to attend face-to-face lectures and can study at their own pace. Meanwhile, countries from the different continents of the world adjusted their educational systems in compliance to the recommendation of the World Health Organization in the conduct of teaching and learning in times of pandemic. In the United States, as reported by the RAND blog with the RAND Corporation, nearly all school-age children are no longer in the classroom as districts shut down to reduce the spread of the new coronavirus. Many states have already indicated campuses will remain shuttered for the rest of the academic year. Many have shifted to distance learning, but many schools are trying this for the first time. And in the Middle East and in the North Africa, as reported in the UNICEF.org, UNICEF MENA promotes the transformation of education systems to rethink what to learn and how to learn, and to provide children and youth with flexible learning opportunities and equip them with skills that go beyond the traditional literacy and numeracy skills or knowledge of subject matters currently taught in most education systems. Children and youth of today are the leaders of workforce tomorrow. They need learning opportunities that are relevant and lifelong, and equip them with knowledge and skills that prepare them for the future. Education systems need to adapt to current realities if they are to serve the needs and requirements of today and future generations. Going back here in the Philippines, the Department of Education, headed by the Secretary herself, Leonor Magtulis Briones, conducted a series of webinars to its key officials from the regional offices down to the field personnel to equip them to the challenges brought by the new normal educational system. Some of these webinars are the webinar on Learning Management System or LMS for online delivery modality, the Education Beyond the New Normal, Issues, Insights, and Innovations, and the Empowering of Parents for Better Home Learning Experience with Children. As the Secretary emphasized the importance of the learning continuity in the country despite the educational crisis, she reiterated approaches to address this situation.
The challenge for us in the education sector is to defend continuity of learning, and we are doing all we can. We have a two-pronged approach to education. One is to emphasize that learning delivery is in a safe manner is still possible, COVID notwithstanding. Secondly, we show that safe learning continuity in the time of COVID constitutes necessary and sound investment for education transformation in the future.
Administrators, educators, as well as the learners also share their opinions on the educational crisis that the Department of Education is facing.
I still believe that learning can continue as it is a basic human right, essential in learning are given priority this time of pandemic.
But then again, I just hope na sana talaga our leaders would come up with a much more sound policies and of course effective.
Because under the learning continuity plan of the Department of Education, the burden of opening of schools is passed to the school administrators and teachers without ensuring the accessibility of quality education for all.
Having said that though, I still believe that an academic weeks is not a viable option right now because the students, to have a sense of normalcy, they actually need interactions with their fellow classmates as well as their teachers.
Having said all of this, many are still concerned whether the action of the Department of Education and the government will be effective or not. Join us as we dig deeper to the issues that you might find interesting. Issues such as the problems and trends in school administration today and tomorrow, the new concepts in meeting the new challenges brought by the new normal system, the nature of the new normal system in terms of the program, curriculum, administration, and supervision, and the perspective of the new normal educational system in terms of the quality of education, economic development, social and human relations. This has been your field correspondent, Raj. I am right now at Parang National High School, Parang, Maguindanao. Parang National High School is the largest secondary school in the entire Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, with an approximate population of 3,000 students. Back to you, Sam and Jane.
Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, Ministry of Basic Higher and Technical Education provides free trainings to its secondary school teachers. Our field correspondent Raj will give us the details. Raj?
Yes, Jane. Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao provides free trainings to address the challenges in the new normal education to all secondary school heads and teachers.
Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao, in the leadership of the Chief Minister Honorable Ahud Balawag Ibrahim, showed their full support in the education sector by providing every child the opportunity to learn with quality education through the Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education. The Chief Minister in one of his engagements emphasized the importance of education for the Bangsamoro youth, following their advocacy that there is no Bangsamoro children will be left behind.
Nais kong ipaalaala sa mga magulang ang mahalagang adhikain ng pamahalaang Bangsamoro na no Bangsamoro child will be left behind. Ang home learning modality sa BARM ay lalo pang pinagtitibay at pinahuhusay ng MBHTA upang tuloy-tuloy at ligtas ang pag-aaral ng mga kabataang Bangsamoro. Sasanayin din sila sa mga inilatag na health standards o protocol upang maging ligtas ang kanilang pagbabalik eskwela sa panahong magbubukas muli ang paaralan. Sinisiguro namin na magiging ligtas ang ating kabataan, tiyakin nating ligtas ang kabuuan ng paaralan sa loob ng classroom at labas nito, sunod sa mga alituntunin ng sektor ng kalusugan sa new normal.
He also encouraged all his constituents to let themselves protected on the threat brought by the COVID-19.
In light of the pronouncements and recent development on COVID-19, the Bangsamoro government is taking a proactive approach in protecting the general public while ensuring continuity of services in the region.
The hesitancy of the people to get vaccinated is one of the possible reasons that hinder the plans of the region in preparing the conduct of face-to-face learning. On the other hand, Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education Minister Honorable Muhagir M. Iqbal is still optimistic that the ministry will soon be ready for its pilot implementation of the limited face-to-face learning. He is committed to deliver the best and quality education for all Bangsamoro learners. In fact, regional trainings and orientations have been already conducted to equip all the schools division superintendents down to their school heads and teachers, not only to strengthen the learning continuity plan by the ministry, but also to get them ready to the new setup of educational system in the new normal. The speech of the MBHTA Minister, Honorable Muhagir M. Iqbal, during the 2021 Third Quarterly Program Implementation Review, dated September 27 to 30, 2021. And I quote, "We should focus our energy and attention on the task at hand to review the implementation of the MBHT's fiscal year 2021 programs, activities, projects, and services. This program review is critical to the realization of our mandate and the effective delivery of education services to the Bangsamoro people." End quote. It is vital to identify the problems that the ministry is facing and the Department of Education as a whole in order to come up with the proper interventions. Here are the topmost problems and threats in the Department of Education, Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education in times of pandemic. First, the stakeholders' preparedness. Second, the technology. Third, pedagogy. Fourth, the material resources. Fifth, the parental support. And lastly, the teacher support. COVID-19 pandemic creates a huge impact in the normal lives of people, whether you are in the government sector, private individuals, or just an ordinary citizen. One of the major effects of this global crisis is in the education sector, where schools are forced to close its gates and students are stuck at their homes. For parents and learners with a little or no access to learning, makes the situation more devastating. In the Philippines, a total of 24,723,000 elementary and high school students in both public and private schools were affected by the adjustments of the new normal. This prompted the schools and the school managers to come up and decide on the appropriate learning delivery modalities suited to their own context. The learning continuity plan of the Department of Education comprising the following: modular distance learning, the online distance learning, the blended learning, which is the combination of the two, and other media such as radio, television, and two-way communication devices. The face-to-face learning, on the other hand, which is the primary and the most effective way of learning, may be quite far from reality as of the moment. Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao Ministry of Basic Higher and Technical Education is on its initial stage of drafting the plans on the conduct of the limited face-to-face learning. With the plans and actions of the government, there are still a number of daunting challenges that need to be addressed and overcome for this learning continuity plan to be efficiently and effectively delivered. First on the list is the stakeholders' preparedness in the new normal education. The first question here is, who are the stakeholders? Are these stakeholders ready? Are we ready? Who is ready? Stakeholders are students, educators, school administrators, parents, and external partners. How prepared we are in addressing this new concept of education. The distance learning that the Education Department is implementing requires different mindset for all stakeholders. For students, how will they cope with the longer periods of not being with classmates for physical and social interaction? For teachers, how will they manage the stresses of teaching and student from a distance? For school leaders, how will they manage the systems, process, and operations in remote educational delivery? For parents, how will they manage additional new responsibility of children going to school at home? And for the external partners, how will they sustain support to the resources of the school? Second problem is the technology. The question here is, are we all technologically inclined? Are we prepared to provide all necessary technology for the learning to be effectively delivered? There are several factors to consider as far as technology integration in the education is concerned. We have the ICT infrastructure, the teachers and students' skills, the economic status, and the geographical locations. Are all schools have enough numbers of these information and communication technologies? Are all teachers knowledgeable with the use of these technologies? Are they provided proper trainings about it? How about the soon-to-be retiring teachers? How can they cope with this trend? If this can be a problem for the teachers, how much more on the learners? Given the situation that 85% of our learners are coming from the marginalized sector, can their parents provide them? And if the government shoulders this technology for them, can they sustain the expenses on the use of these gadgets? Students coming from the forest areas may be deprived on the benefits of this technology, as the internet connectivity, radio and television signals could be affected. Another question is, what are the effective technologies to deliver educational content and materials that will be used in our schools and learning centers? Are these technologies appropriate to the context of the learners? Does it require high or low tech for the delivery of distance education? Even in the face-to-face learning, the question of technology revolves around on how to engage students in their own self-learning. And today in the new normal, how would technology work in the learning process, considering our communities, our learners, and even our working force is not prepared and skilled for this? Another problem is the pedagogy. How is it applied in the new normal? Will the structure of the curriculum or subject and its delivery in the face-to-face classes same in this time of pandemic? The pedagogy or the practice or method of teaching is going to be different, and it will be aligned on the needs of the learners. The difference between teaching a group of learners in the same room and teaching them via Google Meets or Zoom is very huge. Teaching online requires different attentions, protocols, and methods, as the flow could be interrupted by some technical issues. Both learners and teachers participating in an online class could experience too much stress as they facing the screens of their computers or cell phones. Both learners and teachers participating in an online class could experience too much stress as they facing the screens of their computers or cell phones longer than the prescribed times. Teaching such distance classes will require new methods and practices. But how are the teachers adjust to these pedagogical processes? And how the learners creatively engage in learning, particularly distance learning under a new normal without the presence of the teachers to check on how well the learners are doing at home? How are these pedagogical methods addressed subjects like, for instance, in TVL, or technology, vocational, and livelihood education, which requires practical skills and work readiness, considering that the practical skills are often acquired through learning by doing? And how about those students with special needs? How can they cope with these challenges? Are they getting enough education or deprived with these new concepts? These negative impacts will be significantly higher for marginalized children, such as those living in areas affected by conflict, migrants, refugees, children with disabilities, minorities, and the slow learners as well. There is also a major shift now in logistics for education, as education shifts from classroom-based to distance learning, whether online or modular. The schools now are running out of resources due to overwhelming printing costs and equipment. The abrupt shift from classroom-based to modular-based learning designs eventually led to imbalanced expenditures, resulting to scarcity of school resources and finances. External stakeholders has been supporting the schools, but even with support from partners, still would not warrant sustainability in the reproduction of materials before the end of every quarters. The most challenging concern now that the schools and its stakeholders experience is the ability to generate more resources to supply the bulk printing of learning materials in schools. In the content of learning materials, these are some of the problems encountered. Erroneous contents due to rush preparations. Key concepts are limited and not deepened. The activities and exercises are not suited to the multiple abilities of learners. Language use and the degree of difficulties to the different types of learners were not considered. Assessment designs in the materials are not sensitive to the abilities, interests, development preparedness, and available resources at home. Another problem is the parental support. Learning is moved now to the student's home, and parents will somehow take on the role of the teachers. Due to these changes, several concerns have been raised, such as what kind of instructions will be done at home. How will the parents manage their children's learning, especially the toddlers, the kindergartens, grades 1 and 2, and what classes schedule if the parents are also working full-time? Questions could be raised here are: how will the parents be able to manage to help their kids learn while looking for ways to earn? How can they teach their children if they have not finished higher level of education? So what are the challenges? Most parents could not attend to their children because they are still working. In this case, students will not get enough guidance and assistance on their learnings. Most parents could not assist their children because they find it hard to understand the lessons because it is beyond their comprehension. This is due to lack of education on the part of the parents. Last on the list and considered as the most difficult is the teacher support. How would teachers ensure that the learners are learning from the modules? and the level of understanding they have in order for them to respond on their assessments given? How would also teachers ensure that the learners are given equal attention, considering that there are still more tasks ahead that consumes most of their time? Unlike in classes conducted physically, where they can assess how the students comprehend with the materials presented. In the modular learning modality, teachers are also expected to do these tasks: deliver and retrieve the learning materials, print and sort learning materials for the succeeding weeks, prepare weekly plans, prepare supplementary remediation materials, attend to the professional development trainings and seminars or webinars, check papers for formative tracking, follow up students for the activity of the week, and conduct home visitation in some cases. If these are the tasks that a teacher should do for the week, how can the tracking of the learner's progress be done, considering the stress brought by these tasks? There are also issues that the teachers are raising as far as the delivery of the learning materials. The location of the learners which are not reachable by signals, and even the way reaching to these places is a big challenge. In these trying times, the guaranteed solution that gives positive result is indeed cooperation. At the end of the day, there is no problem that has no solution. This has been your field correspondent, Raj.
We are here at the Padang Padang Adventure Park, right at the center of Parang Maguindanao, one of the tourist spots in this municipality.
MST Maguindanao to share their plans and objectives for the incoming school years, addressing the new normal education. Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Alma M. Abdullah Noor is in the event. Raj will give us the details.
Yes, Sam! Ministry of Basic Higher and Technical Education Maguindanao 2 Division shared their plans and objectives for the incoming school years, addressing the new normal education.
Ministry of Basic Higher and Technical Education Maguindanao 2 Division, in the leadership of the very active and humble Schools Division Superintendent Dr. Alma Mangansakan Abdullah Noor, has been continuously expressing her support to the learning continuity in her division. Plans and objectives of the division for current and future school years had already been established. In fact, during the last quarter of year 2019, when the COVID-19 started penetrating many countries, Maguindanao 2 Division, with its previous Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Miriam Ampatuan Kawit Al-Hadja, and with the initiative of the former Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Alma M. Abdullah Noor, now the current SDS, conducted a division-wide call on the formulation of learning continuity plan that suit on the context of the learners. The call was based on the DepEd Order Number 012, Series of 2020, also known as the adoption of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan for school year 2020-2021 in light of the COVID-19 public health emergency. Parang National High School, Parang Maguindanao, headed by its school head Dr. Muhammad K. Bandar, is one of the immediate responders to that call. Dr. Bandar then instructed his key teachers to suggest and propose localized learning continuity plan for the school. Yours truly was one of those tapped to propose. I formulated technology-based learning modalities, which are the modified virtual learning modality and the interactive e-learning modality, which will use technologies with and without internet. After being presented to the school, the said modalities were submitted for presentation in the division office. It was appreciated by the division administration and immediately conducted a division-wide trainings for all secondary and elementary school heads with their IT coordinators. Schools Division Superintendent of Maguindanao II, Dr. Alma M. Abdullah Nur, initiated that the modality should also be presented to the region for the purpose of complying and helping the region's plans for the Bangsamoro learners during this hard time. The modalities then presented to the former Director General on the Basic Education, Sir Rahib Kudtu, and being witnessed by the Schools Division Superintendents in the entire BARMM. Though the learning modalities offered promising solution as part of the learning continuity plan of the region, and it is being backed up with a research conducted by yours truly showing its effectivity in some selected areas in the region, BARMM formulated a learning continuity plan headed by Pathways Chief, CID Basic Education, Sir Yul Olaya, that addresses the needs of many. The modality is a modular learning modality called Adaptive Learning Material, or ALM. Blended learning modality is also one of the options of the region, combining all said modalities. So what are these new concepts? Are these concepts meets the challenges of the new normal educational system? Is it helpful for the school administrators and teachers in the field? Let us give a brief talk of these concepts. Modified virtual learning modality and interactive e-learning modality are both technology-based modalities presented to the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education as supplementary teaching strategies to the blended learning that is being implemented to some schools and divisions. Its main focus is to minimize the cost of module printing. The modified virtual learning modality is a well-structured way of delivering learning contents. The teachers are using Google Classroom, Google Meet, Filmora app, FB group chat, and other related softwares. This modality is internet dependent. On the other hand, interactive e-learning modality is a learning modality where students and teachers don't need to use the internet. Lectures are done using some apps like Kotobi app, MS Office PowerPoint, and others. The lessons prepared by teachers will be sent through Share It or Bluetooth. The adaptive learning material is the solution of the region to address all types of learners, as they will be provided by the printed learning materials. These materials were designed to meet the learning levels of learners, as all the instructions on how to accomplish the tasks are properly stated. Recently, a division-wide rollout on the enhanced ALMs has been conducted to further strengthen its effectivity. Self-learning modules is the widely used learning modality for modular distance learning by different regions in the country. This has been initiated by the Department of Education, and regions made their own versions to meet the context of their learners in the field. So what else can we do to minimize these challenges? Here are some opinions from other educators on how school leaders should respond to issues in education delivery. According to teacher Carlos Tianchao Corios, a holistic and proactive approach is recommended to ensure immediate crisis remediation, as well as a smooth transition to the new normal. He further added these 3 possible tips that could help minimize these challenges. First is to understand the new reality, that is to conduct reassessment of school processes and mechanisms against the existing response framework to understand scope and scale of impact on education system, mitigate immediate impact of crisis from a policy, structural, social, and financial perspective, disregard what doesn't work well and improve what contributes to success, and based on revision, define education system new reality and determine gap to reach future target state. Second, build capabilities, that is to invest in building human resource capabilities and ensure uniform teaching standards and skills for education delivery. Focus teacher development program on the most essential, specifically on the needs and gaps in the implementation of the new normal education system. Ensure availability of support for distance learning and develop strategies and promising practices or innovations on different learning platforms. And lastly, reinvent your model, that is to activate network of experts, innovators, and companies to support model redesign. Involve all stakeholders in the reinvention of systems, processes, and mechanisms so that they have ownership of the processes. Engage with parents, teachers, and students to design new normal. Focus on equitable access to education for the vulnerable and disadvantaged, less privileged. In time of crisis, they are the most that need help. Inshallah, in God's will, this global crisis will soon be over. This has been your field correspondent, Raj.
Yes, Sam and Jane, before I give it back to you, we are now here at Pier Parang, Barangay Poblacion 2, Parang, Maguindanao.
Hello! Good day, viewers! Welcome back to Ed703 TV, the station that you can trust, giving you the latest and the hottest news in the Department of Education, Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, Ministry of Basic, Higher and Technical Education. Join us today as we have the newest segment, The Kapihan sa MBTHE with Maestro Raj. Raj?
Thank you, Jane. Good day, viewers. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our segment, Kapihan sa MBHTE with Maestro Raj, wherein issues and trends in education will be discussed. Today, we invited one of our colleagues in the MBHTE to give us a short talk on the nature of the new normal education. Help me welcome Sir Samanuddin M. Kali. Sir, say hi to our viewers.
Hello viewers, thank you Maestro Raj. Good day to our televiewers. I am Mr. Samanuddin M. Kali. I am glad for this opportunity to give you insight on the nature of new normal educational system. This hot issue includes the program, curriculum, administration, and supervision. Before anything else, Maestro Raj, I would like to greet the brilliant woman in Cotabato State University, the graduate from Graduate College, Graduate School, no other than Dr. Eleanor Tan. I know she is watching us right now. Hi, Doc.
Yes, Sir Sam. Dr. Eleanor Tan is one of the few intelligent women in the academy that inspires a lot of educators. And these educators are now leaders in their own field. To name a few, we have our school's Division Superintendent of Maguindanao II, Dr. Alma M. Abdullah Nur. We have also Dr. Connie Boreros of the Regional Science High School, my colleague. And also Doc Militam Roman of the Makin Integrated Technology High School.
She's indeed a great inspiration.
Yes.
Thank you, Doc.
So going back, I have here a few questions for you, Sir Sam. First is, how is the new normal education in terms of the programs being or soon to be implemented in the ministry?
Yes, Mr. Rods, actually there's a lot of program by the MHT BARM, specifically in the academic parts and also the health and nutrition unit. And for the academic, let's talk about first the preparation of our co-teachers, this time of a new normal educational system. Raj, one of the preparation doing by the teachers every opening of the classes is the Brigada Eskwela. The Department of Education issued a memorandum on the implementation guideline of the said program. DepEd Memorandum number 48 series of 2021, which is the 2021 Brigada Eskwela Implementing Guidelines. The Department of Education, in its commitment to ensure the education must continue amidst the challenges and uncertainties of face-to-face classes brought by coronavirus disease 2019, shall formally open school year 2021-2022. In preparation for the opening of classes, the Brigada Eskwela program shall be implemented with focus on collaboration and strengthening partnership engagements that complement DepEd efforts to implement the basic education learning continuity plan and to ensure the delivery of quality basic education notwithstanding the COVID-19 pandemic. Raj, one of the changes in the implementation of this program from the previous years without COVID-19 to this new normal situation is the traditional concept of Brigada Eskwela, which involves physical cleaning, painting, repainting, and doing minor repairs, will still not happen during the Brigada Eskwela implementation period this year. However, considering the schools are being issued or being used in the preparation of the learning packets, including the picking up and returning of the same by the parents, physical cleaning and disinfection may be allowed during the 2 weeks before the opening of classes in public schools, depending on the prevailing local risk classification and community quarantine guidelines. If allowed, the school shall strictly comply with the protocols on social distancing and implement the precautionary measures consistent with the IATF health protocols, DOH protection protocols, local quarantine rules, and all other relevant protocols provided in the DepEd Task Force COVID-19 issuances. The Brigada Eskwela activity shall focus on preparation and highlight partnership initiative that complement the basic education learning continuity plan among other efforts. This will ensure that quality basic education will continue despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 situations. Maestro Raj, let us watch the interview to the school head of Kurosuyan Elementary School on how they implement the Brigada Eskwela program. We note that the Brigada Eskwela is one of the program of DepEd and of course in the MHTE.
Yes.
So, sir, as a school head of this school, is there any changes in your implementation of the Brigada Eskwela from the previous years without COVID-19 from this new normal situation?
Alhamdulillah, sir, for that question. Brigada Eskwela, sir, is yearly activities of every school nationwide. And your question is there any changes in the implementation of Brigada Eskwela during this pandemic time? In preparing for opening our classes, we only comply with the required health standards, which include the following: social distancing measures, and practicing proper hygiene. The traditional brigada, we will look to the traditional brigada, sir, which involves physical cleaning, painting, repainting, and other minor repairs. Will still not happen during our brigada.
So it was not happened during that.
The brigada as of last year. Because of the following the health protocols. Actually, this memorandum order from the National DepEd has issued a reminders for the school heads in the implementation of 21 Brigada 2021 Brigada Eskwela.
Okay, sir. What are those reminders?
Okay, so let me read this na.
Yes, sir.
Must coordinate with the local government units or other non-government organization and volunteer to clean and disinfect school buildings, classroom, and other school facilities.
Okay, so
Those are one of the reminders.
reminders, yes.
Engage partners to raise the availability of the following items in school during Brigada Eskwela.
Maestro Raj, that's how the school head of Kurusuyan Elementary School implement the Brigada Eskwela 2021. As I have said, Maestro Raj, there's a lot of DepEd programs implemented this time of new normal situation. Now let us also hear the DepEd programs being or soon to be implemented by the Health and Nutrition Unit. Hi ma'am, assalamualaikum and good morning.
Alaikum salam and good morning too.
Ma'am, we know that the MBHT BARM has a lot of programs which include the health and nutrition section. Can you elaborate to us what are those programs?
The Department of Education launched the Oplan Kalusugan sa DepEd. The Oplan Kalusugan sa DepEd is a convergence of all major components or the flagship of all health and nutrition section programs, plans, and policies. The Oplan Kalusugan sa DepEd has 6 major components, namely the school-based feeding program, the National Drug Education Program, the Mental Health Program, the Adolescents Reproductive Health Program, the WASH and Schools, and the Medical, Dental, and Nursing Services.
Okay, ma'am, is there any changes in the implementation of the programs with this time of pandemic?
Yes, there were changes in the program implementation of one of the major components of Oplan Kalusugan sa DepEd, specifically the school-based feeding program. Out of 6 programs, only the school-based feeding program has changes. The remaining 5 major flagship has no changes at all. No changes to the plans, policies, and activities. As is pa rin po tayo and waiting for the new guidelines na magiging applicable for the whole Bangsamoro.
Raj, according to the Health and Nutrition Section Officer or the District Nurse of Barrera District, the DepEd launched their program which is the Oplan Kalusugan sa DepEd, and this is consists of many programs. The number 1 of this program is the school-based feeding program. Number 2, mental health program, National Drug Education Program, WASH in Schools, Medical, Dental, and Nursing Services, Adolescent Reproductive Health. And all of this program, Raj, has no changes in the implementation, except for the school-based feeding program, which is she already enlightened us on the changes of implementation. Raj, in our research, the rest of the programs are still implementing. We just need to comply and follow the health and protocols by the IATF and the DOH. And for the program which needs the participation of the learners, like Buwan ng Wika, English festival, and etc., this will be done through online. Raj?
That sounds good, sir. My partner Jane has questions for you. Jane?
Thank you, Maestro Raj. Sam, Maestro Raj asked you about the programs. How about the curriculum? How is it implemented? And how about the school administrators? Are there new strategies that the ministry and the school have for this new normal system?
Yes, Jen. Actually, Jen, there is no major changes in the K-12 curriculum. There are some content in the K-12 were omitted, and there are some still remain. No? And this is what we call the most essential learning competencies, or the MELC.
Yes.
Actually, I already consulted one of the school head of Barira district with regards with this issue. So let's watch. Hi ma'am, assalamualaikum and good morning.
Good morning too, sir.
Ma'am, we just want to know if there is a changes in the curriculum. But anyway, what curriculum you use in your school this time of new normal situation?
Okay, sir. Thank you for that nice question. Of course, in our school, we are still using the K-12 curriculum because the K-12 curriculum will provide the holistic education for all pupils. This means the pupils will improve their communication and social skills. Actually, the other teachers believe that one of the changes in K-12 curriculum is the MELC. But the truth is there is no changes. In fact, the MELC is already there before the pandemic. The MELC is just a broad objective. We are summarizing the objective from the MELC to formulate an objective according to the level learning of our pupils. Maybe the changes they are talking about is the visual aid like PowerPoint, which is used in face-to-face classes, and today we are using the modular printed materials, and other school use online classes. Maybe that the changes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much for your time and good luck to your work.
You're welcome po, sir.
Ma'am Jane, the curriculum this time of new normal education did not change. It is still the K-12 curriculum. But there are some topics were omitted, and only those essential topics will remain. This is now what we call the most essential learning competencies, or the MELC. Essential learning competencies are defined as what the students need, considered indispensable in the teaching learning process to building skills to equip learners for subsequent grade levels and subsequently for lifelong learning. On the other hand, desirable learning competencies were defined as what may enhance education but may not be necessary in building foundation skills. The release of the MELC is not just a response to addressing the challenges of the current pandemic, but is also part of the department's long-term response to the call of SDG 4 to develop resilient education systems, most especially during emergencies. Thus, it can be used under the certain circumstances as a mechanism to ensure education continuity through the curriculum dimension. The MELCs will enable the department to focus instruction to the most essential, indispensable competencies that our learners must acquire as we anticipate challenges in learning delivery. It will also lighten the burden of converting classroom-oriented learning resources into learning resources adapted to distance learning. to the administration, Ma'am Jane, here's the experience of the one of the school head in Kurusuyan Elementary School. He explained about the changes of his administration, this new normal situation.
For your question, sir, actually, this pandemic has brought us positive, or shall I say, advantage and disadvantages. Also, brought some also changes in both administration and supervision in our school. In my own assessment, let's say we will. I'll give you some positive, no? We will go to positive or the advantage of
Having this
having this pandemic. As I have observed, many of the schools, even in some remote areas, our school is considered in remote areas.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yeah. We are one of the schools situated
in the remote area.
in the remote areas. So, in my own level of assessment, during this time of pandemic, we will able to build our own hand washing facility, because as the division office issued memorandum order last year, that all schools should have the complete hand washing facilities. And I see positive changes on that matter, because we were able to build immediately our hand washing facility. Actually, this pandemic has brought a dramatic disruption on the delivery of learning the students. The challenges of delivering distance learning and other some aspects when it comes to the learning of the students. I'll give you some changes.
Okay, sige, sir.
One is this pandemic completely disrupted the normal pattern of our daily undertaking in school.
The reporting.
Yes, especially the schedule of education system.
Okay.
From piece to let's say modular.
Modular.
Yeah, piece to modular.
Okay, Sir Sam, I have here last question for you. This question is all about school supervision. What changes that the school leaders or the supervisors are now doing as far as school supervision is concerned?
Thank you very much, Maestro Raj. As far as the school supervision is concerned, there are some changes in the supervising to the learners and the school, the teachers.
Yes.
Some school administrator use the technology to supervise the performance of the teachers and of course the learners or the students.
Okay, that's right. Technology nowadays is very helpful.
Very helpful. Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, Maestro Raj, I already asked the school head of Kurusuyan Elementary School on how he supervised his school and his teachers this time of a new normal situation.
Learning modalities. Another one, this changes the inability of the school heads to conduct in person or actual supervision to the students,
to the students' development or
to every student in the classroom. Wherein, in fact, the supervision is the most important tool in transforming
the
learning. Yeah. Another changes that I have observed, the absence of engagement. The absence of engagement between teachers and students, where in fact, that scenario is most important in the classroom setting because it retains the learning, because teachers would immediately knows where he needs to enter in or conduct an intervention. So that is one, the absence of engagement between teachers and students.
Yes, engagement.
Another one, disadvantage, is the pandemic totally complicated the instructional improvements because of the changes of landscape of education schedule, especially to teachers.
Yes.
Skeletal from of reporting
skeletal.
So the teacher, the school lead is not completely oversight the
performance.
Yeah, the performance of the teacher. Those are the
changes
in my own
experience.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Sam, for your time and insights you gave us today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, more power to you, sir. Thank you also to our viewers. Once again, this is the Kapihan sa MDXTE with Maestro Raj and with my partner, Ma'am Jane.
Thank you, viewers, for tuning with us, still in Ed703 TV. Thank you and have a good day ahead, everyone. Bye-bye!
Welcome back to Ed703 TV. This time, we will be hearing more of the latest updates on the Department of Education.
Yeah, that's right, Rods. It's almost 2 school years that we are having this new normal educational system. Let's keep updated with the perspective of the new normal educational system.
New normal educational system affects quality education. Here is the detail of my report. There is a sudden shift in educational paradigm, especially on teaching learning due to COVID-19 pandemic, which affects individual in the organization, especially the learners. Academic freeze is suggested by lawmakers, but the Department of Education really finds safe and innovative ways to continue education amid pandemic. Different perspectives on this issue arise. Let us watch this interview with my school principal on her perspective in the new normal education.
For the information of everyone, our school head, our new school principal is just installed this January 3, 2002 in school. She is the former assistant principal at Himagango National High School for the senior high school department. So let's get started, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, ready?
Okay. So my first question for you, ma'am, is, being the school administrator, how do you envision the educational system today and tomorrow?
Nowadays, education has a big twist. But pandemic won't stop the education system, especially in the Philippines. With the new normal, DepEd designed the basic education learning continuity plan that ensures the safety of students, teachers, and staff. It also intends to give quality distance learning by using self-learning modules and the integration of RPI, or the radio-based instruction, and the TVI, television-based instruction, and the use of internet. This is the era of digitization, whether we like it or not. We have to adapt the paperless and contactless, or no face-to-face communication, yet education continues.
Okay, very well said, ma'am.
Quality education. Quality education. It is defined as one that focuses on the whole child, the social, emotional, mental, physical, and cognitive development of each student, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or geographic location. It prepares the child for life, not just for testing. It provides all learners with what they need to become economically productive, leading to holistic development and sustainable lifestyle. It also leads to peaceful and democratic societies and strengthens one's well-being. The Philippine education system today. It is offered through formal and non-formal systems. For the formal education, we have the primary school, or the primary education starts with the kindergarten, then grade 1 until grade 6. We have the junior high school, or the lower secondary education, from grade 7 to grade 10. The senior high school, or the upper secondary education, from grades 11 to 12. And we have the college degree. Then after college degree, some are pursuing for graduate school. We have also the non-formal education. This focuses on skills training and development. And these are the common TESDA courses. There are 6 dimensions of education. First is equity. This refers to the equal access of all Filipino children to quality and basic education. Second, contextualization and relevance. Lessons shall be aligned with the MELC and contextualized based on the needs of the learners, cultures, and traditions in their locality. Third, child-friendly teaching and learning. This is to develop a conducive learning environment for children. Fourth is sustainability. The fifth one, balanced approach. And the sixth one, learning outcomes. Learning outcomes of students must be relevant to their education or to the lessons given to them for them to acquire lifelong skills that can be used in their daily existence. How quality is quality education in the new normal educational system? Let me present to you the interview with my school principal.
How quality is quality education in the new normal educational system?
As educator, we are sure to deliver the quality education. In this time of pandemic, we assure that lessons given to our learners anchored to the MELC are the most essential learning competencies. But the question is the process. How do parents help them or the learners understand the lesson, especially when parents are undergrad or elementary level only? Fortunately, DepEd used different platforms to assist the delivery of quality education. Just like as I said a while ago, the radio-based instruction, internet, and even the television-based instruction.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Maylene.
Let's have the comparison of the education yesterday and today. Mode of instruction. Before pandemic, we have the face-to-face instruction. During the pandemic, we have the blended instruction that comprise of modular, both digital and printed. Some schools offer digital for those students who have laptops, desktop at homes, or smartphones, which they use the USB. And for the schools who don't have access to these gadgets, they prefer the printed modules. Another is the television-based instruction, in which the government supports DepEd to deliver quality and equal access of education. So we have the TVI, or the television-based instruction, which offers different lessons from kindergarten down to senior high school. Another is the radio-based instruction, or the RBI. This instruction is given to those students who have radios at home and to those students who don't have television and are found in far-flung areas. And we have also the online instruction. These are just accessible to students who have the luxury of gadgets or the technology. The table shows the total enrollment of elementary, junior high school, and senior high school per modality. As we can see, the modular print has the highest total number of enrollment. Why? Because it is accessible and inexpensive on the part of the parents and of the students. Learning acquisition, or the teaching learning. Before pandemic, teacher-guided learning. During pandemic, self-learning, wherein students learn by their own and sometimes guided by the parents, elder siblings, relatives, or friends. Before pandemic, learners are dependent on teachers because they can ask questions. They can interact. During pandemic, learners become independent. They learn how to learn by their own. During pandemic, there is a physical interaction with peers because that is face-to-face. During pandemic, they have virtual interactions, especially those who have online classes. Before pandemic, there is time limits in doing activities, but during the pandemic, there is time freedom. Students can have the freedom of time whether they will answer the exercises in that span period of time or not. Lessons and student progress. Before pandemic, all lessons are aligned with MELC. During pandemic, still lessons are aligned with MELC. Before pandemic, teachers prepared daily lesson log, or DLL, with students' outcomes. During pandemic, teacher prepared weekly home learning plan, or WHLP. Before pandemic, students' progress are tracked right away, and it is written at the back of our DLL. But during the pandemic, students' progress are tracked but not right away. For enrollment, before pandemic, there is increasing enrollment trend. During pandemic, enrollment decreased. As we have shown in the graph below, the data on the primary and secondary education enrollment rate for the 3 consecutive school years from academic year 2018 to 2019 down to academic year 2020-2021. As we have seen, from academic 2018-19 to academic 19-20, that is before the pandemic, there is an increasing enrollment. Then, it really decreased from academic 2019 to 2020 down to academic year 2020-2021. A data also shown in the graph for the tertiary education enrollment rate. There is also a fluctuating trend from the academic year 2018-2019 down to academic year 2020-2021. So it has really a significant decrease due to COVID-19 pandemic. Out of school youth, before pandemic, we have only 89% of the total school age population, or equivalent to 1.52 million, who are not enrolled in school. During the pandemic, it is close to 4 million. This increase in number is very alarming. This time, we will be informed by the interview with my school principal on the comparison of educational system before and during the new normal.
Ma'am, being the school administrator, if you are to compare the educational system before and during the new normal, how could that be?
If I were to compare the education system before and during the new normal, it has a big difference. Big difference in a sense that there are less interaction between teacher and learners. Some students don't have smartphones to be updated with the lessons, informations, and even remediations for them. Teachers are bombarded with the workloads such as printing, sorting, checking, and other online reports to be submitted urgently. Yet, we are sure that education shall continue. Learning takes place in season or out of season, on easy or difficult time.
For almost 2 school years of education amid pandemic, these are the top concerns. First, money for mobile load. We all know that a lot of people lose their jobs during the pandemic. Second, lack of gadget. Most of the parents, especially in far-flung areas, do not have the capacity to provide or buy gadget for their children and able to compete with other children in the cities, especially in the online class. Third is the poor internet signal. In the Philippines, we have very unstable internet signal and we cannot deny that fact. Fourth, students struggle to focus and learn online. Fifth, parents' lack of knowledge of kids' lesson. This one, most parents nowadays, especially in the far-flung areas, do not have sufficient knowledge because some are elementary level, elementary undergraduate, some are high school level, or high school graduate. And what they learned before is very different from today's lesson of their children. And now, may I present you the interview with my school head, presenting the real experience during this new normal educational system.
What are the challenges encountered by the schools or being the school administrator in this new normal educational system?
Being a new administrator in this new normal system, it takes a lot of challenges. But as administrator, we need not only the power, even knowledge, but wisdom. Wisdom to deal with different people, different negative scenario as we encounter pandemic, bringing it into a positive or brighter one. It will always be anchored to DepEd mission, vision, and core values to deliver quality education despite the surge of pandemic. Again, this is a shared responsibility for each and every one of us, and even I cannot do it without the support from the teachers, from the stakeholders, and from above. That's all. Thank you, Ma'am Friend.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Maylene. It's good to be with you in this school. It's good that you have given me the time to interview you for this purpose. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless everyone.
The state of the Philippine economy with regards to the new normal educational system will be discussed in detail in my report. Economy is the basis of society. When the economy is stable, society develops. This afternoon, we will know deeper what is economic development. Economic development is the creation of wealth from which community benefits are realized. It is more than a jobs program. It's an investment in growing your economy and enhancing the prosperity and quality of life for all residents. Economic development means different things to different people. How does education contribute to economic development? Provides a foundation for development, the groundwork on which much of our economic and social well-being is built. It is the key to increasing economic efficiency and social consistency. It helps to raise the poor from poverty by increasing the value and efficiency. Education is the basic factor in economic development. It has important role in social mobility, equity, public health, better opportunities for employment. Philippine economic development in new normal. There is a solid growth prior to the COVID-19 pandemic of over 6%. Unfortunately, it went way down in 2020 due to the shutdown of 75% of the economy at the peak of the Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ. Moreover, due to the country's better management of risk, the Philippine economy grew 4 to 5% in 2021 and 7 to 9% in 2022. Schools' economic development in new normal. Construction of school buildings are temporarily suspended to avoid the surge of COVID-19 infection. COVID-19 facilities like hand washing, equipment like alcohol dispenser, thermal scanner, and others, and materials like face mask, face shield, and others become schools' top budget priority. Schools prioritize budget for supplies in module reproduction or printing, distribution, and retrieval. Moreover, our division, Schools Division of Cotabato, also allotted supplemental budget for module reproduction. Construction of makeshift building which serves as quarantine facilities in school is encouraged. This time, I'll be presenting you a video clip on the interview with the school principal.
In the aspect of economic development, Ma'am, do the schools affected by it? Why?
Yes. Even though we have less activities, but the demands of supplies just like printing, bond papers, inks, and other health supplies increased. IGP stocks like canteen, other fundraising activities led by the PTA stopped also. But we believe proper budgeting, and identifying the priorities will keep us sustained and deliver the quality education of Maliki High School.
Thank you so much, Ma'am.
Here is another video clip asking what are the mechanisms conducted by the school administrator to augment economic challenges.
You have mentioned earlier, Ma'am, that school really affected by economic development. Being the school administrator, what are the mechanisms conducted by the school to augment it?
Strengthen linkages. I do believe that having a shared responsibility from our partners like DLGU, parents, NGOs, and other private entities, we can have a better, stronger organization that will help us deliver sufficient and quality education in this time of pandemic.
New normal educational system affects quality education. Here is the detail of my report. Social and human relation is very essential, especially in this time of pandemic. Social relations becomes virtually wider, especially for those who are very tech savvy. Let's hear the detail in my report. Social and human relation. Influence of technology in social and human relation grows exponentially and has reached a wider scope during the new normal through the help of the different social media online platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Messenger, Zoom, Meet, and others. But let us know first what is meant by social and human relation. Social relation is any relationship between two or more individuals with the goal of communicating with others. It is also known as social interaction, wherein a face-to-face process consisting of actions, reactions, and mutual adaptation between two or more individuals exist. Types of social relation. There are 5 types. We have exchange, competition, conflict, cooperation, and accommodation. Exchange. Social exchange advances the idea that relationships are essential for life in society, and that it is in one's interest to form relationships with others. Second, competition. It is a contest between people or groups of people for control over resources. In this definition, resources can have both literal and symbolic meaning. People can compete over tangible resources like land, food, and mates, but also over intangible resources such as social capital. Competition is the opposite of cooperation and arises whenever two parties strive for a goal that cannot be shared. Competition can have both beneficial and detrimental effects. Positively, competition, if it follows rules of conduct, may serve as a form of recreation, or it helps to motivate people to perform the role society asks of them. On the negative side, competition can cause injury, psychological stress, inequality, lack of cooperation, and even conflict. Third, conflict. Social conflict is the struggle for agency or power within a society. It occurs when two or more people oppose one another in social interactions, reciprocally exerting social power in an effort to attain scarce or incompatible goals and prevent the opponent from attaining it. Conflict is a normal part of social life. rather than an abnormal occurrence. There are three tenets of conflict. Society is composed of different groups that compete for resources. While society may portray a sense of cooperation, a continual power struggle exists between social groups as they pursue their own interests. And last, social groups will use resources to their own advantage in the pursuit of their own goals, frequently leading powerful groups to take advantage of the less powerful groups. Fourth, cooperation. Cooperation is the process of two or more people working or acting together. It enables social reality by laying the groundwork for social institutions, organizations, and the entire social system. Without cooperation, no institution beyond the individual would develop. Cooperation derives from an overlap in desires and is more likely if there is a relationship between the parties. This means that if two people know that they are going to encounter one another in the future, or if they have memories in the past cooperation, they are more likely to cooperate in the present. The last one is accommodation, that is accommodating one's idea, which may strengthen social relation. Social relation in new normal. The sudden social isolation led to staff and students experiencing problems of lack of social interactions, motivation, and mental health problems such as boredom, loneliness, and anxiety. Online social relations, like virtual communities, are described as groups where relationships form and whose members provide each other with companionship, information, and social support. That is from Sproul and Farah of 1997. Social communication also is considered as the fastest and convenient way of communication through social media platforms. Please watch this short video clip on how a school administrator defined social and human relation in the new normal.
How do you define social and human relation in the new normal? How about the new normal educational system now?
People nowadays connect only through FB, messengers, or phone calls, having a casual relationship. Unlike the normal scenario, people talked, socialized, and having intimate relationship because of often and face-to-face communication. Relationships are crucial to our survival as human race. We heard a lot of sad stories like suicidal nowadays because of a weak human relationship. It provides us nurturing environment for our development. As best example of this is the Nescafe advertisement. Kanino ka bumaba nun? It enhances our life opportunities and extends our survival.
Here are the benefits of social media in social and human relations. First, build relationships. It connects one another throughout the globe. Enrich and strengthen relationships through regular and constant communication with the use of social media. Second, share expertise. While using the social media, one can share their skills to someone. Example, cooking a dish you haven't tried yet. With the help of someone through a video call guidance, you can now cook your favorite dish. Third, increase visibility. Gadgets nowadays are enhanced with different specs of camera. That's why we can see each other while communicating. Fourth one is educate oneself. We can educate oneself by trying the different mechanisms on social media relations. And the last one, connect anytime. With the use of internet, we can now connect anytime to our family, who are far from us, to our loved ones, and inform them of the situations we have so that they can give immediate action or seek help from others in times of needs or emergencies.